as we have our championship match of this 6th ladder series.
Yes, Tom Morgan climbing all the way up from position number 5. This is the 7th appearance for him this season. He was on 7 times last year. Shawn Baker at the top of the ladder. His only real nemesis the last couple of years has been Steve Vadney, who's not here today, so maybe Shawn's got a better shot at
Let's
things.
meet our bowlers in this championship match, with the winner advancing to the Tournament of Champions first. Our 5th seed from Revere, Massachusetts, Tom Morgan.
And it's great to have Tom back once again. His average is 129, high single 192. Tom's high triple is 490. And the Metro Bowl in Peabody, Mass, up on Boston's North Shores, where he does his league bowling with Brother Mike.
He will take on our top seed, a young man who has been waiting in the wings for the past 3 weeks, waiting for this championship match. 23-year-old Shawn Baker, also from Lynn.
Yes, we saw Shawn about a month ago. His average is 127, high single is 204, his triple 464. Lucky strike lanes in Lynn, so it's Lynn and Revere going at it today.
Should be a great match this afternoon. Tom Morgan and Shawn Baker. Let's get right to it. All for all the marbles at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. We're back with Candlepin Stars and Strikes right after this. That's how it began. 4 weeks ago, Tom Morgan beating Mike Morgan. 3 weeks ago, Dan Lasco downing Phil Bergstrom. Tom Morgan beating Dan Lasco, then Morgan advancing, beating Phil Bergstrom, setting up the championship match here this afternoon with Tom Morgan taking on top seed Shawn Baker. And Tom Morgan will be first to bowl here at Leda Lanes this afternoon in this championship match. Dick Lutzk with Mike Morin, our entire WNDS TV 50 crew here at Leda Lanes. Happy to have you with us for what shapes up to be an exciting match before a big crowd at Leda Lanes on lane 34, which has been a very good lane for Tom Morgan for the past couple of weeks, although he missed the head pin on his first shot right there.
Well, I did a quick check of the notes, and we haven't had anybody go from the 5th seed to win a ladder this year.
Tom Morgan takes a 9 in the first box. Tom had a 388 in the win over Brother Mike, a 390 in the win over Dan Lasco, and a 410 to beat Phil Bergstrom's 398 last week. Now on lane 33, the strike.
High fives for everybody.
Watch the strike again on lane 33, which was not his favorite lane the last couple of weeks. Now we look at Shawn Baker. 23-year-old fireballer in the first string. He's been bowling for 20 of his 23 years. Bowls out of the Lucky Strike lanes in Lynn. This is his 5th appearance on TV 50. And he will miss the spare. It will come back and take the pin. It will not count. A 9 box for Shawn Baker. If it had hit something, a piece of dead wood, anything, before it got to the back wall and came back and took the pin, it would have counted. Now Shawn Baker with a strike. He almost had 2 strikes in a row to start out. He buried that one. Shawn's an electrician's apprentice at Interstate Electric. You watch it again on the Brooklyn side, no doubt about it. The 6th pin the last to go, but it went convincingly. Now Tom Morgan working on a strike. Again, missed the head pin for the 2nd time in a row on lane 34.
A little tentative on that shot. Just kind of pulled up, it looked like, at the end. The ball went too far to the left. 4 horsemen right side facing him.
And that time he took the head pin head on and picked it off the rest of the 4 horsemen. It'll be an 8 box. .43-year-old Tom Morgan from Revere, married to Linda. Children Jamie and Kelly are here today to watch Dad in the championship match. 7-pin drop, but the wood is favorable. Looks good. Will not take it. Will not take the 10-pin.
I think that's where he wanted to hit it, too.
Absolutely. And that will be a 9 box for Tom Morgan, 43 through 4. Shawn Baker is a golfer when he's not bowling. Average is 127, a high single of 204, a triple of 464, a 690 in the roll-off for his top seed. Working on a strike. Working on 2 strikes. $1,275 at stake as you watch the next shot. 3 strikes is worth $1,275 for Shawn Baker. He moves over to lane 33. Not much else needs to be said. You can watch it from here. Missed the head pin and missed the $1,275.
We'll give him a consolation prize of $50 if he can make the spare right here for 3 marks in a row.
But he won't. That's a good 10 box for Shawn.
That was a 3-8-10, in case you're wondering. Putting him 19 pins behind Tom Morgan. I'm sorry, ahead of Tom Morgan.
Well, the double strike is certainly exciting, especially when you have $1,275 in the jackpot. Tom led up that time, missed the head pin, and look what he is left with. A very makeable spare. Very tentative shot on the ball for Tom that time. Aiming it. And he will pick up the spare. Just barely, but he will pick up the spare. The 3-pin was a reluctant participant that time. Second mark of the string. Both bowlers with 2 marks in the first string. Working on a spare, Tom Morgan. Head pin full through 5 pins. Three on the left go, leaving 2 on the right. Nine box.
So next week we begin the Tournament of Champions. It's a 5-week ladder series featuring 6 bowlers. We've got 5 in place. We're still waiting to see who bowler number 6. It'll be either Shawn Baker or Tom Morgan. So far, Jack Ray, Rich Clark, Don Richmond, Gary Santora, and Steve Plant have their positions secured.
Will he pick up the spare on the half Worcester? Don't give up on it yet. Not quite. Want to acknowledge a note we received from Natalie Walker. As we have for the last several weeks, we've received many inquiries on the lobbing rule. And as we have mentioned before, we do not use a lobbing judge, and it's pretty much a consensus that one is not necessary. It just hasn't been a problem, and the bowlers police it among themselves. Shawn Baker in the pocket. How is that 9-pin still standing? It is. But thank you to Natalie Walker for your note, and we appreciate your watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes every week on WNDS TV. And Shawn will pick up the spare. Another note from Mrs. Arthur Didham of Wakefield, Massachusetts. And Tom Morgan on 34. He's cooled off on that lane, hasn't he? We watch Stars and Strikes every Saturday over WNDS, and we enjoy it as the senior bowlers who bowl every week. And we appreciate hearing from Mrs. Didham in Wakefield, Massachusetts, and we appreciate your watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. A 10 box for Tom Morgan, 77. The left lane has become his favorite lane this string, more than the right lane, 33. Although this is a tough shot. He has no choice but to play the wood on the right and take a shot at it and see what happens. Missed it, too far to the right.
Not much angle of that piece of wood either in front of the 3-pin.
And that'll be a 7 box. 84 for Tom Morgan through 8. Shawn Baker working on a spare. Baker with 3 marks in the string, Morgan with 2.
Tom averaging over 130 his last 3 weeks. 388, 390, and 410 last week. Having a nice run.
Right through the middle it goes. Spread eagle, 4-pin Phil. Felt badly for Phil Bergstrom last week. Bowled a 398, which is just good enough to lose.
But he made a lot of bonus money.
He did.
So
he made $150 in bonus money to go with the $250 consolation prize, but still to bowl a 398 and lose. And that'll be an 8-box for Shawn.
Well, we're not setting any scoring records so far today, that's for sure.
17-pin lead, box to box for Shawn Baker. Off the head pin, second pocket, leaves a pretty good spare leave. Tough shot, but makeable. Piece of wood out beyond the line. Chris Bovair will run down to remove it.
Did you hear what Shawn had to say to Tom before the match started, just as we were getting ready to start?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. He says to Tom Morgan, Shawn being 23, says, "Good luck, sir."
Very polite young man.
But Tom was taken aback by that.
And the spare for Shawn Baker, playing it off the wall.
I mean, don't you hate when somebody calls you sir?
We see the replay of that spare from Shawn Baker, bouncing the head pin off the left side wall and back into the 8-pin. Now Tom Morgan on the head pin that time on lane 34. The 3-pin remains. Missed it. And that'll be a 10-box. 94 through 9 for Tom Morgan. Well below his average of recent weeks. Can he break up the split? No, he cannot. Tough shot remains for Tom Morgan.
Well, he did have one other clunker of a game a couple weeks ago when his first string in week 2 of the ladder was 97. He's over that now, but not by much.
Watch out, watch out. Nope, that wood will roll behind the 6 and the 10. Hope you've had a chance to watch our WNDS News Now at 7 and 10. Monday through Friday night, a 10-box and a 104 first string for Tom Morgan. Join Alicia Talanian, Al Caprillion, and yours truly for news, weather, and sports every night at 7 and 10 on WNDS TV. Check your local cable company for which cable station we come through. If you're on a Media One system, chances are it's on channel 18, which is what you're probably watching right now. Spare for Shawn Baker, picking up the 4 horsemen. 2 marks in a row for Shawn, as he has now a 26-pin plus lead in the first string. On the head pin, straight on, adding to the mark, looking for bonus money right here.
Throws what they call a very lively ball. Get a lot of really good pin results, even on what appears to be a real bad hit.
That time he bounced it down and missed the spare. Very costly. Cost him $50, cost him some scoring, as he has to take a 10-box, a 138 first string, a 34-pin lead for Shawn Baker over Tom Morgan after 1 in this championship match in our 6th ladder series on Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Lido Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on WNDS TV. We'll be right back. Shawn Baker will be first to bowl in the 2nd string. Shawn will carry a 34-pin lead into the middle string of our 3-string match. The winner will advance to the Tournament of Champions, which will begin next week. And Shawn starts out with a pocket shot. Will it take the 6 and the 10? No, they'll both still stand. Shawn had 5 marks in the first string. Tom Morgan just 2. Shawn starts out the second string with a mark.
Shawn Baker is rated number 10 overall so far this season in the Pro Tour. Now we're taping this just before the final tournament in March at the Hub Bowl in Lunenburg, so we can't tell you how the final results of the top bowlers will be this year, but as of the first 5 tournaments, Shawn Baker is number 10. I think Mike Morgan is up there at number 2.
Shawn will pick up another spare. He starts the second string with back-to-back marks, and he'll have another chance at bonus money when he comes to the line. He had 2 strikes back-to-back in the first string and 2 spares back-to-back in the first string, but was unable to put 3 together. Now here's Tom Morgan.
Catch a
on
break.
Lane 34, breaking the split and leaving a makeable shot as the wood falls off. Tom will pick up the spare.
Talking about the Pro Tour back in February, that's the most recent results we have. The winner was Chris Sargent, who was on our show earlier this year. He had a 3-string stretch of 163, 163, and 150 on his way to winning that particular tournament. And number 2 was Gary Carrington. Dick O'Connell was 3rd. Mike Morgan, number 4. And Jim Grigatis was number 5.
Tom missed the spare. Very costly miss. And he'll have to take a 10 box.
Missed opportunities, you pay for them, especially against Shawn Baker.
Shawn working on 2 marks in a row. Threw it past the head pin that time and has to take a 5 fill.
Pick this up, we'll give him $50 bonus money.
Threw it past the head pin. And that'll be an 8 box. I want to thank Virginia McRae of Malden, Massachusetts for a lovely note. A regular viewer of Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Makes a point to say that she likes to see the names that she knows, like the Morgan brothers, etc. Watches at both shows, Saturday and Sunday. And a nice shot by Shawn for the mark.
Running down the 4 horsemen on the right-hand side.
Now Tom Morgan in the 3rd box.
Needs to get fired up here. He's falling way behind.
Virginia McRae also points out that she likes the bonus ball contest. Likes to know that people watching at home can become involved. And you can become involved in our bonus ball contest by sending a postcard with your name, address, and a number from 1 to 10. 0 to 10, if you will, if you don't think that they'll get any down.
If you think Dick or I will be throwing the bonus ball.
And that'll be a 9 box for Tom. Again, 2 spare opportunities back-to-back that Tom Morgan was unable to convert. So send the bonus ball postcard to Leda Lanes, 340 Amherst Street, Nashua, New Hampshire. And we could draw yours. And you might be a contestant. 03063 is the zip code as Tom finally makes a shot. He could have 4 marks in a row. We'll go to the break as Shawn Baker has the lead in this championship match from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on WNDS TV. We continue after this. Shawn Shawn Baker ready to go. Lane 34, Leda Lanes in Nashua. Had the discussion a few weeks back, Michael, about the origination of the name Leda, L-E-D-A Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Yeah, I've often wondered what that was.
I'm told that Ray Simino, the proprietor of Leda Lanes, named the bowling establishment after his mom. Her name was Leda.
Pronounced Leda.
Leda, that's correct. Yep.
A little bit more trivia about this great game.
Ooh, he bounced it down and
now that
was
a
not
skip
able
lob.
to pick it.
It was a legal shot.
Yep.
Didn't go over the lob line. You know, he didn't do it on purpose, obviously, and you can see it didn't help him out either. We also had a discussion a few weeks ago about the dressing that is applied to the actual lane bed itself. Talking a lot about how the 10-pin bowling centers will generally dress the lane several times a day to achieve the kind of scoring that they wish, but the Candlepin bowling centers are dressed much less frequently.
And Ray Simino was telling me that and you pointed it out a few weeks ago too, and he just confirmed it, that the 10-pin lanes, the dressing is established unevenly.
Yes. Down
the lane. A certain length of the lane has so much put on, and then it's a variable, the length of the lane. That's a nice 10 box by Shawn Baker. I was not aware of that. The materials that are used are similar from 10-pin to Candlepin. The frequency is different, and the method is a bit different, but
yes,
it's essentially the same product. Tom Morgan on 34. Can he bust up the split and leave himself a makeable shot? Well, the wood is pretty good for him, actually.
Well, he'd like that one on the left to roll back to the 5-pin. But I think he can do it with a cut shot.
Either way, between him or to the cut. He picked the 5-pin right off of it. You saw his reaction. $10 box and a 65. Shawn Baker has picked up 4 pins added to his lead, box to box. Now when he lost it a little bit, he will get 7 and leave 3 makeable. 1, 2, 4. And there it goes.
So he can get a few pins back now on Shawn Baker, who was open in the 6th frame.
You look at the 3 open frames that Tom Morgan has in this string, and they were all makeable spares.
And that really is almost the difference in this match, as Shawn leads by 38 pins.
Shawn to the head pin, and will it go? The 4-pin.
Took its time.
4-pin was coaxed a bit. There it goes, the last pin standing, and it will tumble back to Shawn Baker, missing the head pin that time. You've got the 1, the 2, the 7, and the 10 still standing. They are no longer standing.
Very nice shot.
2 marks in a row for Shawn Baker. He'll have a chance at some bonus money when he comes to the line. You'll get a chance to see that spare again. Good action off the side wall for Shawn Baker. Tom Morgan working on a spare on lane 34. Right to the head pin. Look at what he gets.
Much, much better hit than that. That would be the 6, 7, 9.
Look at this. Oh, he cut it too fine. It went in front of the 7-pin. In front of the 7-pin. You usually don't see that happen. Almost impossible.
An appreciative round of applause to Tom.
Let's see it again as Tom Morgan comes so close. The pin coming in front of the 7. Back to live action we go. He missed the head pin. And they continue to fall. And he's left with a better leave than he had the last time.
Well, there's enough wood there that it should be pretty makeable.
The 10-pin is still there.
And I think we'll have to have that pin removed.
Looked like it would be impossible to miss. And again, you look at Tom's score this string and the boxes in which he's open, each and every one could have, would have, should have been a spare.
Series of missed opportunities. You can't get those back with only a dozen frames to go to the end of the match.
And Shawn Baker working on a spare, led by 34 pins going into the string, is added to it. And he will be left with a tough shot as he looks for some bonus money, but it won't be easy. No bonus money for Shawn Baker. And a 10 box, 127 through 9. Keep in mind, too, bowlers are trying to score as high as they can, not only to win, but the winner, as he bounces one down and hits a strike.
Well, I can tell you who one of our bowlers will be that we'll see next week in the Tournament of Champions. Steve Plant will be in there for sure. He's sitting at the bottom at 353, regardless of what these two bowlers do today. He'll still be in at least the first match. So count on him next week, and either Shawn Baker or Tom Morgan is the other bowler.
Shawn is now at 137, 146 for Shawn.
And he's cruising along very nicely for a higher seeding, averaging 142 for his first two games. If he continues that, he would be the top seed.
Here's Tom Morgan with a 9-pin drop. That'll be a spare for Tom. He's at 112 plus the ball in the 9th frame.
In fact, if Shawn Baker does win today and has a 124 game next string, he'll be the top seed in the Tournament of Champions.
That time Tom threw it past the head pin, got 6 in the spare. Look of frustration in the eyes of Tom Morgan. And he'll take a 10 box. He'll close with 128 and a 2-string total of 232. It is a 52-pin lead for Shawn Baker going to the 3rd and final string of this championship match of the 6th ladder series on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. We're back with the 3rd string right after this. All set to go, 3rd and final string. Shawn Baker leads Tom Morgan 284 to 232, a 52-pin advantage for Shawn Baker over Tom Morgan, and Tom Morgan will be first to bowl in the 3rd string. He'll start out on lane 34, and he'll start out with a split. Look at that, he almost picked it off. He's almost made a couple of real tough splits.
But it's the easy spares that I'm sure he'll be the first to admit have really cost him dearly today. Tournament of Champions next week, and along with all the great bowling action for 5 straight weeks, we'll give you some interesting overviews and encapsulated version of the season before, averages, statistics, fun things that we compile over the course of the season. We'll be sharing all those with you. It's the 10-pin with a guide leading right to it.
And he'll use it. 2 10 boxes for Tom Morgan. 10 boxes won't do it. Got a note here from Dolly Brown of Amesbury, Massachusetts. Dolly says that as Shawn Baker on his first box has a spare opportunity, Dolly really enjoys Stars and Strikes. Besides watching excellent bowlers, it's good to see Even they don't always get those skinny little pins standing down there all alone.
Just
Shawn,
like that.
Just like Shawn.
Thank you, Dolly.
Dolly's a Monday morning bowler at Leo's Super Bowl in Amesbury, and she does have a second reason for writing.
She wants money?
Shawn picks up a 10. We had mentioned that Steve Vadney, when he was on, renews old cars.
Yep.
Would we please let him know that she has fender skirts from the 1956 Ford Fairlane. Also a new Ford fuel pump. We never went anywhere without an extra fuel pump in those days.
Oh, that's great. Well, Steve Vadney, be in touch with us if you have any interest in Dolly's parts of the car.
There's Shawn missing a spare.
What is this, a swap shop of the air now?
And it'll be a 9 box for Shawn Baker.
Well,
Dolly, thank you very much for writing, and we encourage everyone to write to Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We love to hear from you. The mailing address is Stars and Strikes, WNDS, TV 50, Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038. And don't forget, for the bonus ball contest, send your cards to Leda Lanes, 340 Amherst Street in Nashua. There's Tom Morgan almost picking up a very difficult spare. And the zip in Nashua is 03063. And that'll be a 10 box for Tom Morgan, his third 10 box of the third string. And 10s just ain't going to make it for Tommy. That's a good pocket shot and a solid 5-pin. Still standing.
Been a long run for Tom Morgan. The fatigue is perhaps setting in.
That'll be a spare right on the nose. First mark of the third string for either bowlers. Comes in the fourth box for Tom Morgan. Now it's Shawn Baker to the line on lane 34. Shawn in the pocket. He will leave a 5-pin standing. As Tom Morgan did. Tom converted for a spare. Will Shawn do the same? He will. We had the biggest crowd of the year for our taping at Leda Lanes in Nashua. It was terrific to see. We begin taping at 10 o'clock in the morning. Or we did, at least for this particular series. And people were here at 7:30 in the morning at Leda Lanes for our Tournament of Champions.
It's going to be this coming Tuesday. If you're watching this on Sunday the 11th, we'll be taping on
at
Tuesday.
9 o'clock in the morning.
9 a.m.
Shawn will not make it. $10 box for Shawn. We go to the break. Shawn Baker in the lead in this championship match. Candlepin Stars and Strikes from WNDS TV and Leda Lanes in Nashua continues right after this. Tom Morgan ready to bowl, working on a spare, trailing by a boatload. On the spare leaves the 1, 7, 1, 6, 7, 9, 10. Not a very common leave.
Don't think there's a name for that one. Well, not that we could
mess.
use it on TV.
Missed the head pin.
I was talking about Chris Sargent earlier, winning a couple of months ago. Bowling Acres of Peterborough, the WCBC tournament. And our vast audience today have spotted him. He must have come down with his friend Shawn Baker. He had a wonderful 14.06 for 10 games. That's a 140 average, Dick, over 10 games, including that run of 163, 163, and 150 in the middle of that whole 10-string series. So he is here in the audience today, watching all the action.
Now Tom left himself another split. He's come close a couple of times to making great splits. And he comes close again, but is not able to convert. He'll be open again. Just one mark in the third string for Tom Morgan. That'll be a 10 box, 62 through 6. Shawn Baker can just about put it away with a mark or two right here.
But he's thinking about top seed, I would think. He needs, what did I say, 124? 124 to be top seed in the Tournament of Champions. Jack Ray is sitting there now with 407. I think Shawn's got a pretty good shot at it.
Well, it needs marks, that's for sure.
But we're also assuming he's going to win, and it's maybe just a little too early to be saying that much.
Played the wood on the right side. And an 8-box for Shawn Baker.
Well, this would have been a great opportunity for Tommy Morgan had he been able to put a few together, because Shawn Baker is in the doldrums right now.
Another skip and another tough leave. Very difficult shot to make for Shawn Baker right here.
Yep, 2 sets of parallel pins, the 5, the 6, the 9, and the 10.
Almost pulled it off, gave it a great shot. And that'll be a 9-box for Shawn Baker. If you like Chinese food, may I suggest to you the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge right next door to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Maybe you like Szechuan sliced pork with fresh Chinese vegetables, fresh green peppers, sliced bamboo shoots, and a hot spicy Szechuan sauce. It's one of the specialties at the Kahala Chinese Restaurant in Nashua, New Hampshire. Yushang style. Yushang literally meaning aromatic fish in a common Szechuan way of cooking fish. The trick, which is to mix sugar and vinegar delicately with a garlic and chili sauce to generate a unique exotic flavor. It's sauteed with water chestnuts, bamboo shoots, red peppers, and black fungus. At the Kahala Chinese Restaurant right next door to Leda Lanes, they have a terrific luncheon buffet Monday through Saturday from 11:45 to 2 p.m. The dinner buffet on Thursday from 5 to 8, and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. As you're watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes on a Sunday afternoon, when the show is over, load up the car and head on out to the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge on Amherst Street in Nashua, right next door to Leda Lanes. Exit 7W if you're coming from the south, exit 8 if you're coming from the north. The Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge in Nashua. Strike for Shawn Baker. As you watch it one more time, Shawn right on the head pin, puts the hammer to it.
I think we can concede this one to Shawn Baker. Now it's a matter of where will he find himself seated in the Tournament of Champions.
And will he get a shot at some bonus money? That's another question.
Now time is running out for the triple strike, if that's what you're alluding to. Which is with
Shawn is filling a strike right here, trying to put a spare in it, and he cannot do it. And that'll be a 10-box, a 93. What does he need, Michael, to get to the top seed?
Needs 124.
Well, he's going to need a mark.
Going to need a mark, that's right. Going to need a mark and some really good fills.
He's added 12 pins to his lead. He leads by 64 pins with 2 boxes to go.
Now, he does need 2 marks, indeed, yes.
And Tom has lost his groove on lane 34, to be sure. And that'll be a 7-box. Now Mike Morgan is telling Tom, close out with a triple strike and they'll go home happy. Could that be one of them?
There's not too much gas left in the tank.
No, he's running on E.
Running on E for sure. But it's been a great run, a great season for Tom Morgan. 2 years in a row, 7 appearances, including 1 doubles on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
He will not break 100 in this third string. A 97, a 329 triple. And a great round of applause from the crowd here at Leda Lanes. They appreciate the show that Tom Morgan and Mike Morgan put on every time they compete on WNDS. Now it's a question of How high on the ladder can Shawn Baker climb?
2 marks is what he needs to be the top seed.
No, he's not going to get there.
Well, let's say he gets a 110 game, which means he doesn't get a mark. That would put him in the 4th seed.
He will take a 9 in that box.
So a mark is crucial right here to get into the upper echelon. A mark and a good fill would give him 120, which would give him, say, 404, which would put him in 3rd. So a double strike, or he will not be the top seed.
All right, he has a chance at a mark.
It will be Steve Plant and Gary Santora next week as our first round of 5 weeks. Tournament of Champions Steve Plant and Gary Santora.
10 box, 112, 3rd string. A triple of 396 for Shawn Baker.
4th seed.
And 4th seed in the Tournament of Champions. And we'll come back to wrap it all up for you from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, as we continue with Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV right after this. Well, a great run by Tom Morgan comes to an end as he runs into the buzzsaw and Shawn Baker.
Yeah, Tom really started strong 3 weeks ago, and as time goes on, you know, the old body sometimes can't hold out. But next time, if he can start maybe in the 3rd seed, he can work his way up with a little more energy at the end.
Let's bring him out this afternoon. You know, when the Morgan brothers are on Candlepin Stars and Strikes, they give you a great show, and Tom gave us a great run for the last 3 weeks. Tom Morgan.
Thank you very much.
First of all, a check for $500. 3 weeks ago, starting from the number 5 seed, we were talking during the break about the benefit of having a higher seed, and it certainly showed here this afternoon.
It did. I didn't have the energy I needed, and Baker's tough. I mean, you can't come out and, I mean, he comes out double strike, 3rd and 4th box. I said, okay, I can weather that. I throw a couple marks, and I don't throw any more, and I'm down 34. It's okay, maybe I can start quick. He starts out spare 7 spares. Okay, maybe I can stay with him. Then finally I said, forget it. Let him hit 400, come number 1 seed. I'm going home, man. I'm tired.
Well, it was a great run by Tom Morgan, and we appreciate the effort that you and Mike put in every time you're on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We look forward to seeing you next year.
What a great show. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you,
Tom
Tom.
Morgan.
See you next year.
A great competitor. The Morgan family well represented here this afternoon. Now it'll be Shawn Baker. He'll roll a bonus ball, and we'll try to match it up with a contestant from home. That, my friends, is a strike. Let's see if we can pull one out of there. If there are any in there that have an X on it, Michael, we'll see.
Oh, close.
Close enough. They picked, it's not a winner, but it's close. It's a 9. Wanda Wilson of Lawrence, Massachusetts, picked 9. Consolation prize for Wanda. And the second card out of the bin is Grace Brady from Manchester, New Hampshire. Grace will win 10 strings of bowling from Leda Lanes. And here is a check for $1,000 to Shawn Baker. Congratulations to you. 4th seed in the Tournament of Champions, and that was what you were bowling for pretty much toward the end, that high seed in the Tournament of Champions.
Yeah, I knew what I had to get, and a little tight a little bit, and, you know, that's all right. Work my way up, that's all.
Well, you saw Tom struggle from the 5th seed to get to the top, so it does have an advantage. You were the number 1 seed. There's a great advantage to being number 1.
Yeah, well, when you come in, you only have to throw 3 strings. It's nice to know, so. But now I got to come in and just work my way up to the top, and hopefully it'll do it.
Shawn, congratulations to you. We'll look forward to seeing you in the Tournament of Champions at the end of the season. It begins next week, and we have the pairings ready to go for our Tournament of Champions.
All right, Dick, from the bottom, next week you will see number 6 seed Steve Plant take on Gary Santora, who's number 5. That winner will go on to play Shawn Baker, who won today. Then up to the top, Don Richmond, Rich Clark, and Jack Ray, still number 1 seed at 407. We'll see him in 5 weeks.
We'll look forward to seeing you, too, as we begin our Tournament of Champions next week from right here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. For Mike Morin and our entire WNDS TV 50 crew, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We'll see you next time for the Tournament of Champions. So long, everyone. We'll see you next week.